G'day there guys, thinks eating 20 nuggets is a personality trait, back at it again with another episode of r/am I the a-hole. Now if you love me like I love you, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, a like on the video, and enjoy today's bloody good content. Posted by user Liver Dilemma 2019, titled, Am I the a-hole for not donating my liver due to a lawsuit and then the person died? My 24 male, partners, 23 female, close friend and boss, 50s male, at the mechanic shop needed a liver transplant. They had been on the list for a while and getting nowhere. Lots of us got tested and I was a match. We were all happy and thrilled that this donation could take place. A week before the surgery date, police showed up at our house to arrest my partner as her boss, the person who was getting a piece of my liver, had accused her of theft, claimed she had stolen thousands from his bank account and stolen from the cash box. The police showed us the CCTV in which she reaches into the box, takes money and walks out of frame. 15 times, 15 days, 15 accusations. The police admitted they had no proof it was theft and no clue on the amounts taken, as she used the box to take customers' money and change. The police also said they didn't see how she accessed their bank accounts and that they felt this was some sort of insurance fraud and they needed a scapegoat. I immediately rang the hospital and my transplant coordinator and backed out of the surgery. We got on with our lives, partner found a new job and attended the court date where the case was thrown out 6 months later. A week after the case was dismissed, we got word boss had died. No one else had been a match or willing to get tested after news got out, and they never found a match in the transplant system in time. I feel so guilty. I allowed someone to die, pretty much murdered them. I let pettiness get in the way of saving a life. Partner and friends feel I did the right thing. None of this is on me, and not giving a piece of me to the person possibly putting my partner in prison for a long time, a week before surgery, is my choice and the right choice. Boss's friends and family have been ringing non-stop, harassing us at our jobs and posting online a lot how I'm a murderer and killed boss, that I should have given the liver anyway and been a good person. I feel I should have given it, but who bites the hand that feeds? I didn't want to get cut open, risk dying, and other complications for someone who didn't care for me and mine. But now, someone is dead from something I could have prevented. I'm conflicted and losing sleep over this. Am I the a-hole for not giving my liver to the person accusing my partner of theft and then later dying? Edit. Thank you for all the positive and informative feedback. I think seeing the outside impartial view on this has helped me put it in perspective. I've only been focusing on my selfishness causing his death, as opposed to his actions contributing to. I'll be getting some counseling, as suggested, to help deal with the constant what-ifs in my brain, and to help me move past this, and to stop shouldering the burden. Edit. Well, this blew up. Thanks for the awards and positive vibes, everyone. Much appreciated. Just clearing up a few things. My girlfriend didn't steal. She was just doing her job getting change and paying invoices. The wife, who admitted to stealing later, simply used footage of her accessing the cash box to try to make it seem like she stole. I didn't state she was innocent, as it's innocent until proven guilty, and she wasn't found guilty, so my mistake. It's been pointed out that with boss so unwell, perhaps it wasn't him doing this but his wife. That's a great point I never considered, and now makes me feel even more guilty. I should have checked. We're in the UK, so I guess our legal system works differently to the States, in that I didn't have to pay a bail. Just simply take her home and take her to the court dates. This could be why the policemen told us straight up that it seemed like bull, and were very candid and kind to us. They even bought us lunch when one went to Subway. Also, as said, the surgery would have probably been cancelled anyway, as I did have another welfare check or two scheduled for that week with the transplant team at the hospital, and I was hugely stressed out. My work gave me that week and the following off anyway for being such a good sport. Thanks for the DMs calling me a murderer. Appreciated. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. I mean, all this extra info comes to light, but, if it is in fact the wife's doing, at the end of the day, the blood is on her hands, not OP's. That's my opinion. You can take it with a grain of salt if you'd like. I don't feel like OP is responsible for their death. You know, they went through the entire system, they looked for other donors. OP had the chance to give them the liver through surgery, and then their partner was threatened. I would pull out too, you know? Very serious accusations against them. What, are you going to still support the life of someone giving you serious accusations against your partner? It's not a world that I want to live in. Sounds grim, but I'm willing to bet a lot of people would be the same way. This situation is just a ton of mishaps one after the other, but ultimately I feel like OP is not the a-hole. You don't owe anybody your organs. The boss did not care about your family. He didn't try to get your partner's side of the story before calling the police. Report them for harassment if they keep pestering you. Hypothetically, even if your partner was stealing, the boss should have let it go. A transplant is priceless. The phrase "don't bite the hand that feeds" seems very applicable here. What did they expect would happen? Oh, yeah, I know you had my girlfriend arrested. Anyway, let's go do this super dangerous surgery to make sure that you can keep screwing people over. You are not the a-hole. Her boss had put your partner's life and freedom in jeopardy at the same time as you were arranging to help extend his. Now, if the accusations were founded, you would still be not the a-hole, but it would be more of a no a-holes here scenario. If you feel bad, go donate blood. Save other lives. Thank you. I donate blood regularly as I have a rarer blood type anyway, and she's not that sort. She was working there to pay for school, and she insisted we both get tested before we were even asked to. Then you really need to cut yourself some slack. You didn't do a single thing wrong. Posted by user ILovePizza32, titled, "Am I the a-hole for siding with my brothers and sister-in-law over my parents?" So, my brother and my sister-in-law have been married for 6 years. I love them both dearly. They adopted a little girl about a year ago. My parents were happy about this too at first. They got really angry when my brother and sister-in-law announced recently that their daughter would be their only child and they do not want biological kids. My mum and dad lost their crap. They told my brother he had to get my sister-in-law pregnant. He was the family's male heir, and he would have to have a biological son to carry forward the family name. This makes no sense to me, nor my brother and sister-in-law. It's not as if we're a family of European royalty. Who gives a frick about the family name in this day and age? Well, my parents do apparently. They've been berating my brother and guilt-tripping my sister-in-law, making her feel like she's taking something away from our family. On one occasion, they actually suggested that my brother leave my sister-in-law if she didn't want to get pregnant and have a son with another woman. What's even worse is that they've stopped paying attention to my niece. Earlier, they would call and talk to her almost every day, but ever since they were told about my brother and sister-in-law's decision, they've stopped calling her. This pees me off, and has deeply saddened my brother and sister-in-law. The child is 3 years old and doesn't deserve this kind of treatment. Yesterday, when I called my brother, he seemed very upset. He told me that Mum and Dad had called him and they had talked about something unrelated. When he asked if they wanted to talk to their granddaughter, they said they'd talk to their real grandchild when my brother came to his senses and decided to give them one. I was angrier than I've been in a long time. I called my parents and unloaded on them. I told them how selfish and cruel they were being, and how dare they take out their anger on my niece, along with a lot of other things that I can't even remember. My mother started crying as she's not used to being yelled at. I understand that yelling at them may have been a bit much, but I just can't believe how awful they're being towards a kid. So, am I the a-hole, or are they? Edit. Some people have been wondering how my parents would act when I have kids. No need to worry about that since I won't be having any. I made this clear to my parents years ago, and yes, they threw a fit over this. Yeah, no, you're not forced to have biological kids if you don't want to have them. It's perfectly a-okay to just have adopted kids, or one adopted kid. There's genuinely nothing wrong with that. Don't know why they're carrying these archaic views about, the bloodline's important, we gotta get the bloodline. So many people carry those views, I genuinely don't understand it. It holds no weight. Your family could be wiped out by a tsunami tomorrow. Your family could be wiped out by some huge virus that takes over the world, hint hint. The bloodline won't continue after that, but people will. You're trying to control something that you think is in your control, but it's not. There's not a lot that's actually in your control. Stupid parents. OP, not the a-hole. Your parents can be disappointed that they don't have a biological grandchild, but you were absolutely right to call them out on how cruel they're being to your niece. What if your brother or sister-in-law weren't physically able to have children? I wonder if your parents would have thrown a fit about carrying on the family name then. Either way, they need to come to terms with their disappointment and stop taking it out by being so mean to everyone, especially their granddaughter. It's horrible how they're treating the grandchild that they do have, and also that they see OP's sister-in-law as some kind of child vessel, treating her as if her only purpose is to bear their grandchildren. It makes me wonder what they're going to do if OP has a kid. Will they be extremely overbearing to that child and ignore their adopted grandchild? Honestly, they're going to create a huge rift in the family forever, and they could very well lose the privilege to see any of the kids or grandkids. Not the a-hole. Posted by user Colette195. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my relatives how much I make and defending my salary? Over the weekend, I, 23 female, went to dinner with some of my dad's relatives who I don't see very often. My dad has never gotten along with my uncle, his brother, and I haven't either. He's rude, condescending, and we don't agree with him on a lot of things. Normally, I just try to ignore him. However, at dinner, my uncle asked me about my car that I'd shown up in and my new job. I started my job a little over a year ago after graduating college, and I worked hard for it. I make a lot of money, and I'm proud of that. Software engineer. I recently bought myself my dream car that I've always wanted. Uncle asked, how much are they paying you anyway? In a condescending tone, and I just point blank told him how much I make. I guess I was supposed to laugh and say something like, oh, enough, but I told him the number. He started going off on a rant about how no 23-year-old should make that much money and how stupid my company is for paying me that much. I got ticked and said, I deserve every penny I make. I work hard and most people can't do what I do. Well, I guess this really made my uncle angry because after dinner I received a text from my cousin saying I'd been really rude at dinner and insulted my uncle's intelligence. My dad sided with me since he hates my uncle anyway, but my sister agreed with my cousin and said I shouldn't have said how much money I make or talked to my uncle the way I did because it was impolite. Am I the a-hole? Edits. Wow, I didn't expect for this to blow up. Thanks for the responses, everyone. I feel justified in how I reacted now. For more info on my uncle, he's a retired airline pilot, so I don't think he's even jealous and bitter about how much I make. He's just a jerk. Think this is just one of those mistakes a lot of people have when they're young. You like to talk about how much money you make or how much you don't make, and we just like to throw out numbers there sometimes, and I understand that. It's a lesson you have to learn, you're going to make mistakes, and this guy took it the wrong way. You don't just chuck your salary out there all the time, especially with someone you don't know how they're going to react. OP came from good faith, I'd like to believe was their intention there, and the uncle took it the wrong way. So OP's not the a-hole, everyone else is. Besides the father, he seems like a cool guy. Not the a-hole. He asked you a question, you answered. He insulted you, and you defended yourself. Don't dish it out if you can't take it is my motto. Exactly. She didn't even insult him. She said most people can't do what she does, which isn't targeting him, and so what if he can't code? Bruises his very small ego. My guess is he's at a dead-end job, so anything and anyone is a threat to him. So he's actually a retired airline pilot, which he has always been kind of a jerk about. I always compare it to Jake Peralta's dad in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But he also has 5 adult children and 2 ex-wives, all of whom I think he still supports at least somewhat financially. If he got his bruised ego by your salary, then his entire worth lies with his paycheck that came from the job. A lot of people can study to become pilots, but only a handful can code. Not the a-hole, typical boomer bullcrap. You work hard and have skills the companies are willing to pay that much for. Good for you. It's not like you were rubbing it in his face either. He was pushing the topic. This just reeks of jealousy, pettiness, and insecurities of your uncle. He was being rude, not you. Not the a-hole. He's just jealous of how late in life he got the same salary, if he ever has. This whole, it's rude to talk about your salary BS, is just a way for companies to underpay some people in a department, in my opinion. If everyone knows what the people around them are paid for the same job and experience, they'd have to be paid equal. Wow, thanks for the replies, everyone. I asked here because only my dad seemed to think that what I said was okay, and he's not exactly an unbiased party since, as mentioned, he can't stand my uncle. I've always heard it's rude to talk about your salary too, which is why I wondered if what I said was crossing a line. But now that I've read in multiple comments it's actually a tactic employers use to keep employees in the dark, I don't feel bad about saying the number. And I don't feel bad about defending myself either. Posted by user FlotoMofo. Titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to RSVP to my sister's wedding because I'm required to write an application essay just to attend? Yeah, I know this sounds insane, but I'm living in it. So, my sister is getting married next February, destination wedding no less. I have doubts whether this wedding is actually going to happen with the pandemic and everything, but she's totally set on moving forward. Anyways, because of the pandemic, her original venue has made her cut down on guests because they're cutting capacity by half. As a result, she's sending out re-invites that ask everyone to RSVP again. But in order to figure out who to invite and who to cut, she's asking all confirmed guests to submit 2 250-word essays to 2 questions. The gist is that they'll use these essays to choose who can come or not, based on people's enthusiasm. People who don't write the essays at all will be automatically disqualified. I just feel really insulted by all of this. The questions aren't even pandemic related, it's broad topics like, why do you still want to celebrate this day with us? And what will attending our wedding mean to you specifically? So she's blatantly looking for people to kiss ass and tell her why they really want to go. Anyways, I told her in advance that I'm not writing 500 words on why I need to attend her wedding, spend my own money on plane tickets and hotels, and buy her a present. This has really rubbed her and my parents the wrong way. She said that to keep things fair, if I don't fill out the RSVP correctly, I won't be saved a spot. I said, fine with me. Then my parents said if I don't show up, I'm going to be in big fudging trouble with all our relatives, so just write the essays. Am I the a-hole if I stay stubborn on this? I'm already annoyed at the thought of spending thousands and coming home to quarantine, but I will not belt out 500 words on how this is totally my choice. Am I the a-hole? Edit, I'm 27 female, I don't live with family, but she is my only sister. Edit 2, sister has framed these essays as surveys, but there's a word limit requirement, so if you don't reach it on the Google Forms, you can't even submit. Parents seem to think this is perfectly reasonable, nice even, because sister is letting everyone have the chance to attend. No, I think this is a load of horse crap. I think that the sister shouldn't have to go if she doesn't want to, shouldn't have to be forced to do this bloody 500-word essay if she doesn't want to. I feel like this entire family is disillusioned with this stupid essay coming into the mix. Why is this a thing? Why do you have to put it on them to choose if they come or not? Man up and you pick the list of people you want to go. The sister is spineless. She's absolutely spineless. Plus the plane tickets and hotel stay, and then quarantine again. It just puts everyone in such a bad spot in February while we already don't have a lot of money during this time. I think the sister is honestly living in fantasy land. She needs a, nice slice of humble pie. It doesn't really seem like the time or place in my mind. OP, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole? I would definitely send in 2 essays. The first would say, Mum and Dad said I have to come or I'm in big trouble, over and over again until you hit 250. The second, I'm your sibling. That is some wonderful and slightly malicious compliance. I love it. The pettiest of compliance, and I love it. OP, you're not the a-hole, and please do this. It's one thing for your sister to ask friends or extended family to do this, but immediate family should be automatically invited. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous to ask anyone to do this. You invite people to your wedding because you want to share your important moments with them, not the other way around. Frankly, anyone who spends time out of their day to write an essay begging for the privilege of a wedding invitation is a giant doormat. Not the a-hole, and I hope no one writes the essay so she can see how ridiculous she's being. I wonder how it is that neither the sister, the fiancé, nor the parents have realized that she's publicly humiliating them by being a lunatic. Unless everyone she knows took the same crazy pill she did, most people aren't going to write it, and she's going to be a laughingstock for the rest of time. Anyone who has planned a wedding, or been close to someone planning a wedding, knows that it's hard AF to get people to RSVP on time. That's why they put the RSVP date anywhere between a week and a month before they actually need final numbers. And that's usually a tick box. 500 words from every friend and family member just isn't going to happen at all. Posted by user ThrowAwayTA, titled, "Am I the a-hole for hiding my gender?" Last month, I befriended a guy I met through a game on PS4. It's a team-based game, and we work very well together, which makes it very fun. From the start, I felt that he assumed I'm a dude, but I didn't care. We got along well, he wasn't toxic or rude, and we even swapped numbers. FYI, I don't use voice chat, so he never heard my voice. Also, I have a unisex name, think Charlie, so I guess that didn't help. When we text, we mostly talk about games or similar stuff, but sometimes he would tell me personal things. For example, being rejected by a girl or something like that. I just said that sucks, sorry about that, etc. Then we'd go back to talking about our interests. He was a lot more open than I was. Yesterday we texted and I told him that I wouldn't be available this weekend. He asked me what I'm doing and I told him that I'm doing something with my boyfriend. He asked me if I'm gay. I told him that I'm a straight girl. Wow, he freaked out big time. He started calling me a liar and a manipulative tramp. He said that I purposely hid my gender from him and that I'm full of crap. He said that I only mentioned my boyfriend because I'm a cruel, selfish bleh, and that I'm the reason nobody respects women. Lol, he really said this. I was seriously shocked and told him that he has fudging problems. He sent me this very long text accusing me of being unethical and predatory. He genuinely believes I tricked him into thinking I'm a guy. I never said I'm a guy, he just assumed and I didn't care. So, am I the a-hole? Edit, I blocked his number and then he started texting me from a different number because he said he wasn't finished with his rant. I blocked him again and he somehow found my Instagram and started messaging me on there. His tone suddenly changed and he apologized for attacking me. I told him to stop contacting me and he freaked out again and called me a narcissistic, manipulative bleep bloop. Reported and blocked him. We love it when a nice guy tips his fedora. Very cool guy, 10 out of 10, would report and block again. I just don't get how some people's insecurities come out like that and they start attacking. Like, I've been through the gamer community myself. I was there when Call of Duty Black Ops was hitting the scene. You hear a 10-year-old on the microphone, you start yelling at them. You hear a girl and you start being disgusting towards them. It was just part and parcel of gamer culture in some way. But I don't understand how it bleeds out into real life like this, and people take it so seriously. They're just like, oh, you used me, I feel so betrayed, God. These people, I feel like they have genuine mental health issues because no normal person would ever be like this. That man needs a lot of help. I don't blame OP at all. They did exactly what I would do. Report, block, stonewall him, get him out of your life. Good job, OP, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole at all. As a female gamer myself, I can relate to this. I personally don't feel like I should have to announce to the world that I'm female, but I do feel like I have to sometimes. I've learned that there are 3 types of guy gamers. Guys who don't give a frick what your gender is, guys who think that girl gamers shouldn't be playing games, and guys who think that if you're a girl gamer, you should be in a relationship with them. I might have missed some outliers, but that's the 3 common ones. In my experience, most are the first type, but I have had to deal with the other types as well. Just because you didn't reveal your gender to him doesn't mean you were manipulative. We female gamers don't expect guys to announce to us that they're guys, lol. We just want to have fun after school and work like anyone else, and gender has nothing to do with that. I'm sorry you had to go through with that, but just try to find other people to game with. In the end, this guy's not someone you want to game with. Thank the devs for the block functions, lol. Guys who think you only play because a man got you into it, or you can play with a man. Guys who think because you're not a man, you're trying to use feminine wiles to get something from them, despite never asking a single thing from them. Think OPs falls under this one. One of my favorite r/relationships posts ever, and it was a pretty small one before it got deleted, was a guy asking for opinions to see if his female friend was using him. He described how they were supposed to meet up for an event and hang out. They had each paid their own way. She never asked, suggested, or hinted that he should pay for her. She was paying for her own travel and accommodation. This dude could not give a single solitary reason as to why or how she might be using him, but kept asking the commenters if they thought she was. Basically, the epitome of your second category there. She wants to be friends? What's the catch? The catch is, you don't get to have sex with her. Yeah, nah, bad deal, buddy. I'm leaving. So what, you're saying my RuneScape girlfriend in 2010 didn't want to actually date me? What? No! How come my account got hacked? Where'd all my money go? Posted by user, Decade Later. Titled, Am I the a-hole for resenting my family for something that happened over a decade ago? When I was 15, I was in a car accident. I was riding my bike on new bike lanes that my city had installed, and a car hit me. I ended up having to go to the hospital. Nothing major. The car was turning onto the main road when it hit me, so it was going well below the speed limit. But since it was a car accident, I was forced into the ambulance and shipped off to the hospital to get x-rays. Since I was a minor, I wasn't allowed to be released from the hospital without my family coming to pick me up. I didn't have a cell phone at the time, so I called my home phone with the hospital phone. No answer. The nurse told me they'll try to contact them while I go in to get examined. Not too serious, since I'm still alive, but my leg was broken, and I still kinda walk weird. When walking, my right leg footprints are straight while my left foot is angled around 30 degrees outwards. When all that was done, they said they were still unable to get a hold of anyone from my family. 8 hours later, and who knows how many calls, the cop who showed up to the scene came back to the hospital and I was still there. So he ended up driving me back home. When I got to my house, I opened the door and my mum instantly freaks out when she saw the cop and started yelling at me, asking what the frick I did. The cop explained the situation and started asking my mum why no one picked up the phone. She says, "We didn't recognize the number." It's been over a decade since then, and I was on a Zoom call with the family, and that incident was brought up. Wasn't even me who brought it up, and I simply said, "Haha, that's why I never used any of you as an emergency contact." Well, they blew up. Mum started crying since I guess she still felt guilty about it, and hung up. My siblings started saying things like, "Geez, that was over a decade ago. You need to let it go. Apologize to Mum, she didn't know. She would have come to pick you up if she had known." Yo, even the friends I was with told me they went knocking on my door to tell my fam what happened, and my mum opened the door, and before they were even able to say anything, my mum says, "My name isn't here right now," and closed the door. Truth be told, I still kinda resented that time. Every winter, I look down at my footprints and it's a reminder of it, since it showed me I couldn't really depend on my family. Am I the a-hole for still resenting this? Not like it's a constant resentment, but I still kinda have mixed feelings. ETA, noticed a few people asking the same thing, but in concerns of why no one picked up the phone. At the time, the home number was constantly being called by scammers, so maybe they just assumed it was another scammer. We actually had to change the home phone number maybe a few months after, since the calls were getting increasingly aggressive. Due to the scammers' constant calls, the answering machine was always full, so I also wasn't able to leave a message. I also reached out to one of the friends that was there, and I got it wrong. It wasn't my mum who answered the door, it was my older brother. It's been a long time, and my memory isn't the greatest. Sorry about that. As for the people asking if mum ever apologized, she apologized for jumping to conclusions of me doing something bad when the cops showed up, but never got a direct apology for not picking up the phone, which resulted in me staying at the hospital for hours. She did get me a phone for my birthday that year saying, just in case something ever comes up again, but no, never a formal apology. Well, I guess in that case, definitely not the a-hole. She has remorse about it, she's crying, but why can't she bring herself to apologize to you? God, I would. That would be the first thing that would come out of my mouth as soon as the police arrived at the door, like, I have anxiety about picking up phone numbers that I don't know. It's led to me being abused by people I've never known that got a hold of my phone number and just started chatting shit to me. So I can see where that comes from, I can see where the scamming part comes from as well, but definitely apologizing sincerely and continuously. That would be on the table. Why can the mother not do that? And I think OP holds resentment over that. I can understand why they'd be salty still 10 years later. It's genuinely not something easy to let go of, and I don't think the family should be that upset. An emergency contact is someone you need to rely on. They've proven themselves unreliable. Yes, it could be 10 years ago, but who's to say it won't happen again? This has been my expert opinion today. Take it with a grain of salt, not the a-hole. I don't like phones from unknown numbers either, but refusing to pick up a phone ringing multiple times within 8 hours, while at the same time being worried about missing child? What the hell? I'd be mad too. Yep, if the same unknown number calls me 3 times in a row, then I assume that something freaky is up and I answer. Worst case scenario, I wind up hanging up on somebody asking me for money. The thing is, it seemed she didn't even realize Opie was missing and assumed they did something bad when the cops showed up. Not the a-hole if they don't answer unknown numbers. Who on earth would list them as emergency contacts? Not the a-hole. It's strange your mum has such an out of proportion reaction for something they all say you have to get over. It's a big deal. And OP says, after the accident, I started developing behavioral problems, started smoking weed, and never really wanted to spend time with family. So maybe mum just correlated that to when she essentially failed me in my one time of need as a kid. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something that you didn't know before. If you haven't already, please do feel free to click that like button, as it really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already and you loved today's video, please feel free to subscribe. I would love it a lot. Also, big shout out to all my Patreon members and channel subscribers. You guys are all up on the screen right now. I love you. I love your faces. Also, I love seeing you guys all chatting down below in the comments. It brightens my day to see the stories that you guys share and just the kind words you guys always have for my videos, as well as everyone else in the videos. I love you too. But honestly, your ongoing support means the world to me, and I just love it so much that you guys are able to support a career for myself that I invest so much time into. And you guys honestly motivate me to work harder each and every day to put more love into the videos for you guys. If you guys have watched this far in the video and you haven't already subscribed on Patreon or become a channel member, that's cool, you don't have to, but there are links down below. You can donate any amount of money, pledge that any month, cancel whenever. I'm completely cool with it. It's just there for you to support me if you'd like to go the extra mile. And I'll go the extra mile for you guys by putting out new amazing content every single day. With that said guys, I really hope you have a good day, night, sleep, bath, time at work, whatever you're up to today. This has been Markee. I'll see you in the next amazing video. Bye.